Hello, my name is Sue Lewis and I head up the Careerpilot team based at the University of Bath. And in this session, I'm going to talk specifically about the Careerpilot Pathway Planner. And this is a tool that uses a triage model so you can allocate personal guidance according to the needs of students. And this is something we developed through a bid to the National Careers and Enterprise Company and links with Gatsby 8 and Gatsby 3. So what I'm going to do in this session is explain our three-stage process. I'm going to show you some of the data that's created when the students have completed this and explain how you can get access to the Pathway Planner. So just to explain a little bit about Careerpilot. So Careerpilot's been going since 2011. It's one site with 4 zones and it's all about providing young people, parents, teachers and advisors with the information support they need in order to support the careers journey. And behind Careerpilot, we're all qualified careers advisors or ex-teachers. So we have a student, reporting, advisor, parent zone. And if a school's using all these parts of the site, then that is helping them to put a really good, stable careers program in place, which obviously is Gatsby 1. It is an award-winning website as well. So the Pathway Planner has been developed more recently and it's integrated into Careerpilot. So you need to have Careerpilot and then you can add on the Pathway Planner to your Careerpilot account. So that was piloted with 6 schools last year and is now available to other schools and colleges. Just to explain a little bit about Careerpilot, Careerpilot is funded through subscriptions from 20 universities and 6 Uni Connects in this geographical area. So in this area, if you're in one of these Uni Connect areas, you don't have to be a target school, you can just be in that area, then you get free access to Careerpilot. If you're on the Pathway Planner, even in our free to access area, you have to pay for it as an add-on to your site. If you're out of this area, you pay for Careerpilot and the Pathway Planner. More of that at the end. So Careerpilot is all about trying to develop a whole school approach to careers with the student at the centre, but also trying to help them to become managers of their own careers. So there's activities for every different age group from year 7 to year 13 that's building their careers understanding and their career management skills. So the careers leader is the one, of course, who's trying to put this programme together. So there's lots in Careerpilot that's going to help the role of the careers leader, including our 3-stage careers process. We're trying to teach that to students so they can keep coming back to it every time they make a career decision. We've also got activities, as I say, for every year group. We've got things like 5-week PSHE programs for every year group and lots more as well. Also, careers leaders are trying to engage other people in the school to be talking about careers and supporting students on the careers journey. So we've got lots of things in the site that actually will help these other target audiences. Pathway Planner comes in at year 11 and 12. So as I mentioned, just to show you a little bit more detail of that, activities for every age group, and these are all linked to age, stage and the sort of career decisions or career information students need at that time. To help you deliver that, we've got presentations you can deliver, or we've got recorded lessons that we've recorded and you can deliver them straight to your students. And here's where the Pathway Planner is coming in, year 11 and 12. 5-week PSHE programs, as I mentioned, for Gatsby 4, we've got activities that link a subject to careers, 21 for Key Stage 4 and 21 for Key Stage 5. We've got 40 hot job posters, jobs all predicted to grow, and they're in a social media format too. So some schools are sending out Job of the Week through the parents' newsletter, and that obviously helps the Gatsby too. And this all kind of fits with the most recent white paper that talked about starting careers education much earlier and having a sort of rolling programme that helps to develop career skills. So for the Pathway Planner, we've got 2 versions. One is based in schools, and that's a version for year 11 and year 12 in a school environment. And we've also, since our project finished, developed a version for use in colleges as well. So it all starts with Careerpilot. So I'm just going to show you some of the headline things of Careerpilot. I haven't got time to go through it all, but I will tell you at the end how you can actually get involved in any free training that will help you find out more about Careerpilot. So Careerpilot is a one-stop website And this bit is open access, so anybody can use this across the country. But if you're a subscriber, your students can sign in, and then they can be adding the things they're particularly interested in into their career tools. So if they like a job sector or a job, they can add it here. If they do a skills map, it'll all be added in here. So they build in their report, and all that data is populated in the reporting zone. And if you've got the pathway planner switched on, that will appear here for the students. You can also access the advisor zone and the parent zone from here. And we have our 3-stage process, which I'm just going to show you in a bit more detail. So start with you is the first start. This is a classic career decision-making process. So if students learn this, they can keep returning to it whenever they have to make a decision, which is probably going to be in multiple occasions in a quite complex world. So this is start with you is about helping them find out what motivates them. So they can do a job sector quiz, they can find out where a subject might lead, they can do a skills map, they can plan their qualifications on a ladder. Explore your options is where they can now look at their options in some detail by age or by jobs or by courses, apprenticeship vacancies, etc. And then they can use all this information for stage 3, which is how you're going to plan your next steps. And there's your report, your skills map. And every time we do a career session, we try to get the students to do 1 or 2 action points. So it's all about them starting to manage their careers and think about what they will do. So the report is going to be here. And it can be quite detailed. And even before we had the pathway planner, we always use this information to inform our personal guidance. So you can find out a lot about the student if they've done these activities. So just think about, preparing students for their careers by doing a Careerpilot 1-hour session. And then the pathway planner is almost like a second session the students will do, which is very focused on their options. So, for example, you might do a Careerpilot session in September, October, but the pathway planner for year 11, you might do sort of November time, or for year 12, it might actually be March, April time. So you think about it in that progressive way. So the report is here, can be quite detailed. The advisor report can be recorded here too, so it's visible to the student. And that report moves up with them manually. So just a few things. We've got new little dashboards, so you can actually see a summary, and the students can obviously, of all the things that they're particularly interested in. And this is like a 1 sheet they can print out, which would be useful to share with parents or tutors or whatever. So when we put our bid together for the Careers and Enterprise Company to develop the pathway planner, we had to show how we met Gatsby 8. But also how it met the requirements of the effective guidance. So these are the criteria of effective guidance. And this comes from a research report from the Careers and Enterprise Company. So we had to show that we were hitting all these things. So this is the pathway planner model. So it's a staged model. And we know schools and colleges do a lot of things to prepare students for option choices. But in the pre-guidance 1-hour session, which will be with a computer, so at the moment that's been online at home, but hopefully in the future we'll be back in school. In this 1-hour session, we've got structured presentations that just make sure the students understand all the options available to them. They then get about 30 minutes to explore the ones they're interested in on Careerpilot, and then they're going to do the pathway planner. So this is going to ask them now which pathways they're interested in. And through a quiz format, we're going to ask them specifically questions about the pathways they're interested in, so we can see how ready they are. They'll get red, amber, green score. You'll get lots of data, so you can allocate guidance according to needs at 3 levels. Then the guidance will take place, and the report will be recorded on Careerpilot. And about 4 weeks later, a tutor will spend 5 minutes, or a head of 6, just asking 3 questions just to check the students are still on track. And if they're worried about them, they can flip them back into other guidance. And wrapped around this model is having at least 1 lunchtime a week of drop-in, so you can pick up anybody for whom the triage tool hasn't quite worked because maybe they're not as green as they thought they were, or anybody being referred in, or them referring themselves as well. Just going to show you that in a bit more detail. So this pre-guidance session, we've actually designed some structured presentations that schools can use. You don't have to use them. There's one for year 11 and one for year 12. And right at the end of this session, it's only going to take 10 minutes, they're going to do the pathway planner. So I'm just going to give you a quick show of how that works. So this is year 12. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm just going to show you some of the key things. So this year 12 session is about helping them plan their future careers. We start with a 9 values. Which are the 3 that you would choose as being most important to you? To make the point that, the more you know about what drives you, then you can use that information when you're planning a future course or career. We've created a video that kind of explains to students how they can become managers of their own careers and why that's important. And this streaming animated video is built into our presentations. And that has kind of 4 key things we're trying to get across to kids. Know yourself. What are your motivations? Do stuff to build your CV and your skills. Know all your options. Use all your available support. So in our video, we promote those things. And then our presentation kind of pulls out those things. So if you want to know about yourself, you can use stage 1 of Careerpilot, start with you, where you can do particular activities that are going to help you find out about your skills, the job sectors you might be interested in, and maybe you look at where a subject might lead. Particular activities that are going to help you explore your particular interests. Then you're going to do, that message is do stuff to build your CV. Obviously, number 1 is your A-levels and BTECs, but there's lots of other things you could be doing too. And I know it's tricky with COVID, but there's loads of online opportunities, online courses, the massive open online courses from the university, which are free to access. You don't need any qualifications in thousands of topics. They would look good on your CV, even if you can't get out to do a part-time job currently. So our message obviously is don't drop the things that you're doing around your A-levels and BTECs. Keep with them because they will give you examples of things you can talk about at interviews or on your personal statements or applications. So the focus of this 1-hour session is predominantly on options. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And then we would explain about pathways, levels, what they've done already. This is a year 12 one, where they are probably currently, what's ahead, how the different pathways all got to a degree. And then we go through, this is the point of decision today. And then we'd have little quizzes. How do you become a nurse? Is it through a degree or apprenticeship? Both is an option. Dentistry, just the one. Solicitor, 2 options. And then put in some key information. You do need to find out whether an apprenticeship even exists in what you want to do. Then you have to find the apprenticeship. So we just have 1 or 2 slides for each of the options available to the students. So we make sure that everybody in that room understands the different options, and they probably know quite a lot already about some of them, but they might not know all of them. And then they're going to spend some time on Careerpilot with some activities we would suggest they look at. So then for the last 10 minutes, they're going to do the Pathway Planner. So because you've signed up for the Pathway Planner and you've set this up for your students, it's going to appear in the career tools here. So what we say to students is, okay, this is a chance for you now to think about the pathways you're interested in. That's why it's quite key to ask them that question at the right time. If you ask year 12 in September, they won't be ready to answer that question. So it is important to give the pathway planner to the students at the point at which they had time to think about what they want to do next. Otherwise you'll end up with lots of reds basically. So we're going to ask the students to say what pathway they're interested in. Then we're going to give them a quiz to find out how ready they are for their pathway. And the reason we're going to do that is that they will know what they need to do, but we will know how to support them. So they can say what pathways, they can say definite, considering or not doing. And then if they're definite or considering, they do the quiz. So this is for the university level pathway. This student is definite about that. So we now ask them questions to find out how ready they are. I know what course subject I want to apply for. I want to go to university, but the cost is putting me off. And behind the scenes, some of these questions are red flag questions. They don't see the scoring, but what they get is a red, amber, green score. So for this student, they are definitely want to go to university, but they're amber. So there's some things they haven't done or they're not sure how to do. They're red for apprenticeships, but they're only considering them. And when we allocate guidance, we go by the definite pathway. So this student would end up with our amber, our middle level of guidance. So everybody's going to get guidance, which is obviously Gatsby 8, but it would be at 3 levels. And for the pilot, if they were green, they got a 20-minute check of their plan. If they were amber, they got 30 minutes. If they were red for a definite pathway, or were definite about apprenticeships because that's a complicated pathway, or had additional needs, they would get the maximum guidance. And our schools had to flex some of these timings a bit, but this is the idea of the 3 levels of guidance. Okay, so that was it from the student area. So you can see it's quite easy for the students to do, but you end up getting lots of data here. And the way you access that is through our report in Zoom. So if you switched on for the Pathway Planner, you have this bit. And all the things above in the orange and the blue section are all from the main part of Careerpilot. So you can see who's registered, you can divide them into groups, you can look at reports. But this specific bit, the pink bit, is all about the Pathway Planner. So this is where, in a dashboard format, you can actually see now what pathways the students are interested in. These students didn't do it in year 11, they've done it post 16. So you can see what pathways, but also how ready they are for the pathways. This student is tagged as additional needs, and you could do that in the system, so they're going to get the maximum guidance. There's various actions you can do against the student, and you can also see when you've booked any guidance. It's pink if you've done it and green if you haven't. Oops. And there's various things you could do. You can look at their answers and you could use those collectively. So one of our schools looked at the AMBA students and found out whether there was a common theme. And what they were able to see is that quite a few students were unsure about the finance for university, about 8 of them. So she was able to do a group session over a lunchtime and then do a much smaller one-to-one session. And this is also a good way to find out, kind of how many students are showing red for a particular thing. One of our schools was surprised to see that quite a lot of students are showing red for gap years. And they thought they knew all about them, but they realised through doing this that actually they didn't really know much about them, which is why they were showing red. So now this year they put on a gap year session. So you can find out about your programme and the gaps in your programme, as well as what the students individually might have as gaps. So you can view their answers, view a timeline, book their guidance. You can record where they are after guidance. Having done that intervention, they might change their plans, so you can record their progression. The tutor follow-up will be shown here, and also you can add your advisor comments here as well. Okay, so booking guidance is fairly straightforward. Just click book guidance, and then you can book different levels of guidance. So it might be long, medium, check-in. If they've dropped in, you can record that. There's other referrals as well. If they're self-referred, tutor-referred, they can ask an e-guidance question through the system. Or a parent might have asked you to see a student. So you can record all that. So everything is recorded against the student. So you'll put the date and time and whatever you call the session in your school. When you've got lots of bookings, you'll be able to look at our bookings report, and then you'll be able to see them all. You can download them if you want to. You can sort them and put them in types, order of type or date or names of students. Another nice thing you could do is put in did not attend. So if they have, if you don't put in did not attend, when the date has passed, that'll just be added to their timeline. But if they did not attend, you can put that in and that'll be added to their timeline as well. So that is a wake-up call to the students sometimes. So they will get an email when you have booked a session for them. But obviously you still need to chase them sometimes. So the timeline I mentioned a few times. So you can see this and they can see it from their area too. So what this is showing you is on, for example, the 28th of November, this student did the Pathway Planner, and there were 2 reds and an amber for their pathways. You looked at that, then you put in place a guidance intervention, which happened to be a long session because they, they were definitely about A levels, but amber, but considering a few other things. So maybe you made a decision they were going to get a long session. At the end of that session, what's really important is you get them to edit their responses, because what you want to see is what's changing as a result of your intervention. So the second time they did it, the 25th of February, then you can see they're now green and amber. So it's all about trying to help them on their journey. It's quite visual for them to see how they're moving, as well as you to see that too. And that really helps at Gatsby 3, meeting individual needs. So if you're a guidance advisor and you're using the Pathway Planner, you've got an awful lot there to inform your guidance practice and to sharpen up your guidance session. That's what we found when we did it. We've got the report, we've got the results, even know which particular thing might be a block for them. And what this really helped us do is really focus in the guidance. And as one of our guidance advisors said, she said, I can't believe I've never done this before, because with year 11, 200 times I have to explain their options. Now I know that that's done, I can really focus in on their personal needs. So, it can make guidance much more efficient and targeted at particular things students need. The guidance report, as I said, can be recorded on the site, and actions can be agreed with the students, and they can write them themselves, but also the advisor can write actions that they've agreed with them. So the follow-up, I mentioned a few times that this is going to happen about 3 or 4 weeks after guidance, and it's a kind of check-in really, just to make sure that those students are still on track. It only takes 5 minutes. But the tutors or head of 6, whoever might be doing it, can then refer them back in for a drop-in. So they're not going to get a full hour, but they'll be able to come back in to drop-in. So the training for the tutors takes about 20 minutes, all recorded, so you can deliver it electronically. And they're going to ask 3 questions. Are you clear about which pathway? How are you getting on with your actions? Do you feel you have the information you need to move on in your chosen pathway? Now, if they're just missing out on an action, that's not really a need to refer them, but the other things would be. So what they can do is actually tag that they've seen them and tag that they need another session, and then they'll be invited for drop-in. So as I mentioned, there's what we call our one-liner report. So as they're leaving guidance, as an advisor, you can kind of record what they leave in thinking. So you can say, for example, yeah, they definitely know about A-levels. These are the subjects they're thinking of. And you can choose whether they're lightly, firm or borderline for getting the grades. You can add another pathway too if they're still thinking about 2. The tutors can easily go in, they just need to log in for their tutor group. They can say when they've done their tutor follow-up and whether they feel that person needs to be seen again. We were keen to know how the different levels of guidance would impact on students. So we're different surveys for different colour of guidance, same questions, different surveys. And you can see in terms of this question overall, how useful has the guidance been? For greens, 4.4 out of 5 said it was. 4.4 for amber, 4.6 for red, so slightly higher for red. We also asked them how the timing was of the guidance, and you could see here that for more than 80% of students, it was absolutely fine and it worked really well. And sometimes they overclaim or underclaim, and when you get them to guidance, you realise they need a bit more. But the beauty of the drop-in is that you can offer them that if they need it. We had brilliant feedback about it from all levels of the organisation, from senior leadership teams, the careers advisors found it much more efficient. They felt it was much more strategic. They felt they had a justification for why they were providing guidance in these 3 stages, because they had a whole process that backed that up. One thing that came up quite a lot was this idea of the grey student, the student who you think is going to be perfectly sorted, because they're quite bright, got lots of choices, know what they're doing, something. But what this can show is that sometimes they are not as sorted as you might think. So it can really help you to pick up on students who might be struggling actually in terms of their decisions. So if you're interested in the Pathway Planner, it is available now to roll out to schools. There is a charge for it. So if you want to add it on to your Careerpilot site, it's £250 per year to sign up to that if you're a school, or £400 if you're a college. Now, if you're not in our free use area, which I showed you at the beginning, you'll also need to subscribe to Careerpilot. So if you go to the advisor zone, there's all the information about annual subscription, and then you can add your Pathway Planner onto your subscription. If you do decide to do it, then you will have a 2-hour training session, which is compulsory, because this is where we're going to help you set up your school so you can use the Pathway Planner. We're going to give you all the resources, we're going to switch it on for you, we're going to make sure you're all sorted to get going. You'll also become part of a user group, and that user group is going to be helping to take the tool forward. So we'll share ideas, but also come up with ideas about how it can be even better. So that, just to remind you, is our free to use area where these Uni Connects operate. If you want to know more about the Pathway Planner, we have a whole tile about it in the advisor zone. And if you want to sign up, today's you're just coming to an introduction, but if you want to sign up for the Pathway Planner, you can go to the advisor zone, go to the tile, the Pathway Planner tile, and you will find this link. To sign up for the Pathway Planner, follow this link. And what it'll ask you is which of the training dates you want to come on. And these are the training dates that are coming up now before the summer. We also have a whole program of training. This is all free webinars on topics related to Careerpilot, the reporting zone, which is the main bit of Careerpilot on the reporting zone. and then you'll be informed about other things to do with the Pathway Planner, like we run regular clinics, so you can come and ask a question, and we also have sessions for careers advisors about the Pathway Planner that we'll send out to you separate from this programme. We also have a helpline. Jo is on the helpline from 9 to 3 every day in term time. So if you've got a question to ask or you want to know more about anything at all, get in touch with Jo and she'll either deal with it herself or she'll put you on to one of us in the team. So do get back to us if you've got anything you want to ask. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you are interested in the Pathway Planner. Do get in touch if you are.